They told you the world was made of steel, brick, and stone. They told you power was held in the hands of the privileged, the connected, the chosen few. But the truth Napoleon Hill spent his life uncovering is that the greatest empire ever built is not made of stone. It is forged in the furnace of the mind. Your mind is a magnet. Every thought you feed it, every belief you hold, every vision you dare to imagine, it draws its likeness from the universe, just as surely as a compass needle finds north. Picture a blacksmith at the forge, sparks flying, iron glowing, the hammer striking again and again until raw metal bends into shape. That forge is your mind. Every thought is a hammer blow. Every belief is fire on the anvil. What you repeat with intensity becomes your reality. And here is the first law you must never forget. The mind attracts what it dwells upon. Wealth, success, greatness, these are not accidents. They are drawn to the disciplined thinker who dares to believe in them. Thomas Edison, a boy considered too slow for school, sat in the dim light of a kerosene lamp, scribbling ideas while the world slept. He failed over 1,000 times at the light bulb. But failure was never failure to him. It was instruction. Each setback only refined his magnet. Each night of despair was a furnace in which belief was hardened. And because his mind magnetized light, the world now lives illuminated. Do you think Edison was chosen? No. He chose. He aligned his thoughts with an unshakable vision, and the universe bent to meet him. Andrew Carnegie, a poor immigrant boy in Pittsburgh, spent his youth working 12-hour shifts in a cotton factory. His hands bled, his body ached, and yet inside his mind burned an empire. While other boys dreamed of rest, Carnegie dreamed of steel bridges spanning rivers, railroads stitching a nation together, industries that would transform poverty into prosperity. His magnet was not limited by his station in life. And when Napoleon Hill asked Carnegie the secret to his wealth, Carnegie whispered it like a sacred code. Men become what they think about most of the time. So I ask you, what do you think about? What loops in your mind when you wake and when you sleep? Do you replay fear, or do you rehearse greatness? Because whatever you repeat becomes gravity. Your mind does not ask whether it is true or false. It simply attracts what you feed it. Fear draws failure. Doubt draws delay. Faith draws fortune. Picture Walt Disney, fired from his first newspaper job for lacking imagination, bankrupt after his first studio collapsed, rejected by over 300 financiers who told him Mickey Mouse would never work. Yet with every no, his magnet grew stronger. Why? Because his vision was not a cartoon mouse. It was joy, laughter, worlds where the impossible came alive. And today, millions walk through Disney's imagination as though it were concrete reality, because he held his magnet steady when others shook theirs loose. Your mind is no different. You were born with the same furnace, the same forge, the same hammer of thought. But most let the hammer swing wildly, striking fear, striking doubt, striking excuses, until their magnet rusts and attracts only mediocrity. Do not be one of them. Aim your magnet with precision. Discipline your thoughts as a warrior sharpens his blade. If a thought does not serve your vision, cast it aside like rotten fruit. Feed your mind with images of wealth, of achievement, of abundance, not as daydreams, but as certainties waiting to be claimed. Consider Steve Jobs, fired from his own company, betrayed by the very empire he built. But instead of surrendering, He fed his mind with an obsession for design, simplicity, beauty. That obsession became gravity so powerful, Apple was reborn and transformed the way the world communicates. Do you see the pattern? Edison, Carnegie, Disney, Jobs. Each one was ordinary, each one rejected, dismissed, cast aside. But each one trained the magnet of the mind until the world itself had no choice but to deliver. And you, yes, you listening now, you carry the same seed of power. It does not matter if your wallet is empty. It does not matter if the world calls you broken. You are not measured by your current circumstance. You are measured by the magnet you build within. Wealth begins not in the bank, but in the brain. It begins as a single burning thought, fanned into flame by belief, hammered into steel by discipline, and drawn into reality by relentless action. Look around you. The skyscrapers that pierce the clouds, the bridges that span mighty rivers, the technology pulsing in your hand right now, all of it was once invisible. Born not in steel, but in thought. Before it was built in the world, it was magnetized in the mind. This is the secret so few ever grasp. Wealth is first mental, then material. The poor man says, "I'll believe it when I see it." The wealthy man says, "I'll see it when I believe it." That one shift makes all the difference, because faith is not religion, it is power. It is the invisible current that turns thought into substance, imagination into empire. You do not need to kneel in a temple to feel it. You must kneel within your own mind and decide, this is mine. This will be so. The world must bend, because I will not break. Think of Henry Ford, a farmer's boy with no privilege, no inheritance. When he dared to dream of a horseless carriage, the experts laughed. They said if God wanted man to travel faster, he'd have given him 4 legs. But Ford's mind magnetized a future no one else could see. He said, obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. His focus was steel. His vision was relentless. And because he refused to surrender his magnet to the ridicule of others, the automobile became reality, and the world forever accelerated. Now pause. Feel this truth sink deep. You are attracting right now, not tomorrow, not someday. Every thought you allow to linger is already shaping the currents of your life. The excuses you repeat are building walls. The courage you repeat is tearing them down. The gratitude you repeat is calling more blessings into your orbit. Gratitude. Let us stop there for a moment. Gratitude is not a soft virtue. It is raw electricity for your magnet. When Carnegie, the steel titan, lay on his deathbed, he said it was not the money he cherished, but the journey, the belief that he could rise, the faith that kept him alive through each storm. Gratitude turns poverty into possibility, fear into fuel, delay into discipline. It changes the vibration of your mind, turning it from a repellent into an attractor. You may say, but I am broke. I have nothing to be grateful for. You are wrong. You woke up this morning, your lungs filled with air. You can still think, still imagine, still create. That means you hold the most priceless asset in existence, a living mind. If you command it, if you sharpen it, if you feed it faith and vision, you already possess the seed of wealth. And a seed is all the universe requires. Picture this. A farmer does not scream at the soil for being empty. He plants the seed, waters it, tends it, protects it from weeds, and waits. Wealth works the same. Your thoughts are seeds. Your discipline is the watering can. Your resilience is the fence that protects against weeds of doubt. The harvest will come, but only to those who plant and guard with unwavering faith. Consider Abraham Lincoln, born in a one-room log cabin, self-educated by the dim glow of a fire, failing in business, losing elections, suffering unbearable grief when his fiancée died. Any weaker magnet would have shattered. But Lincoln fed his mind with a vision larger than himself, of a united people, of freedom, of equality. And because his magnet was aligned with destiny, history bent toward him. You must decide today, right now, what your magnet will pull. Will it draw excuses, distractions, addictions, complaints? Or will it draw wealth, greatness, discipline, mastery? The choice is yours, and yours alone. The universe does not discriminate. It responds to the signal you broadcast. Weak signals attract scraps. Strong signals attract empires. And do not mistake this. Action is the amplifier. Thought alone is potential, but action is current. Jobs did not merely imagine the iPhone. He obsessed, refined, demanded, built, tested, and shipped. Disney did not merely dream of castles. He mortgaged everything, risked ridicule, worked while others slept. Carnegie did not merely envision steel. He laid rails, built furnaces, negotiated with fire in his voice. They did not just think, they moved. You must become both thinker and doer, dreamer and builder. A magnet without movement gathers dust. A magnet in motion builds worlds. Wealth belongs not to those who wait, but to those who dare, act, fall, rise, and keep moving with the fire of vision burning in their chest. So ask yourself, what are you moving toward? Do you wake with purpose, or do you wake drifting? Do you aim your magnet, or do you let it wobble in 1,000 directions? Discipline is the hand that steadies the compass. Purpose is the North Star. Together, they create a magnetic field so strong that reality itself cannot resist. There is a moment, silent, private, where every empire is born. Not in a boardroom, not in a factory, not in a stock exchange. It begins when a single man or woman whispers to themselves, "I refuse to die ordinary." That whisper is the spark. That whisper becomes the roar. But the world will test you. Life will place weights upon your shoulders, storms upon your path, doubts within your circle. Why? Because every great magnet must be proven. Diamonds are not forged in comfort, but in fire. Steel is not strengthened in calm, but in the furnace. So when resistance comes, when failures bite, when losses cut, when critics sneer, you must not shrink, you must expand. Think of Thomas Edison. Thousands of failed attempts to invent the electric light. Thousands. Imagine the laughter. Imagine the doubt. Imagine the voice inside his own head screaming, "Quit! Enough!" Yet Edison understood something profound. Every failure was not a wall, but a compass pointing him closer to the solution. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That mindset, that magnetic faith, is what lit the world. Do you see the pattern? Edison, Ford, Carnegie, Lincoln, Jobs, Disney, they were not chosen by fate. They chose themselves. They aligned their magnet, pointed it toward a vision, and refused to let go. That is the secret. Not talent, not luck, not privilege, unwavering faith and relentless action. Now let us speak of vision. Vision is the blueprint of the future. Without vision, you are a wanderer, drifting, living by accident. With vision, you are a creator, building, living by design. Walt Disney walked into an empty swamp in Florida. Empty, Mud, mosquitoes, alligators. Others saw nothing. Disney saw castles, fireworks, parades of joy. He saw it so vividly, so relentlessly, that the swamp had no choice but to transform into Walt Disney World. That is magnetism. That is faith. And yet, listen closely. Vision without discipline is hallucination. Many dream, few do. Many talk, few act. Discipline is the daily ritual, the grind, the sweat that turns castles of the mind into castles of stone. Jobs worked obsessively on design, demanding perfection in details no one else could see. Carnegie worked 16-hour days, negotiating steel until his lungs burned. Lincoln studied law books alone in candlelight, while others slept. The dreamers who become legends are those who wed vision with discipline. But let us not forget resilience. Resilience is wealth's most loyal guardian, because when you aim your mind at greatness, life will push back. It will test if you are worthy. The magnet must hold even when the current shakes it. When Jobs was fired from his own company, he could have quit, retreated into bitterness. Instead, he said it was the best thing that ever happened to him. He created Pixar. He sharpened his skills. And when he returned to Apple, he unleashed the most powerful wave of innovation the world had ever seen. Failure is not the opposite of wealth. It is the furnace of wealth. The poor man flees failure, and so he flees growth. The wealthy man embraces failure, and so he embraces destiny. Every scar becomes steel. Every loss becomes fuel. Every doubt becomes defiance. And through all of this, gratitude remains the force that keeps your magnet clean. Because wealth without gratitude is poverty in disguise. Gratitude prevents greed from rotting the soul. Gratitude keeps you connected to the truth that wealth is not just dollars. It is freedom. It is impact. It is legacy. Carnegie gave away over 90% of his fortune. Jobs sought beauty in technology, not just profit. Disney built happiness, not just parks. Gratitude transforms wealth from selfish gain into generational power. So I ask you, what vision do you hold? What fire will you guard? What storm will you endure? Will you waste the days scrolling, complaining, drifting, doubting? Or will you rise, align your magnet, and aim it at wealth? The choice is no longer in tomorrow. The choice is now. Because wealth will not chase you. Wealth will not beg you. Wealth will not knock at your door while you sleep. Wealth bows only to those who rise, who demand, who aim their mind like a blazing magnet into the future and declare, I will not stop until it bends. There is a law, older than kings, older than empires, older than time itself. A law written not in books, but in the fabric of reality. You attract what you are, not what you wish for, not what you plead for, what you are. If your thoughts are poisoned with doubt, you will attract more doubt. If your heart is chained by fear, you will attract more fear. But if your soul is ablaze with faith, with vision, with courage, then the universe, in its infinite power, begins to rearrange itself to deliver. This is not magic. This is not superstition. This is magnetism. Andrew Carnegie knew it. He was not born into palaces. He was born into poverty in a one-room house in Scotland. His family, so poor, they shared one bed. And yet, as a boy working in a cotton factory, he held one belief: I will not remain here, I will rise. He aimed his magnet upward. He aligned his faith with labor. He built an empire of steel, so vast it shaped the bones of America. But listen carefully. Carnegie did not hoard his treasure. He believed wealth was not his own. He gave libraries to the poor, knowledge to the hungry, opportunity to the forgotten. Why? Because he knew a secret. Wealth that flows multiplies, but wealth that stagnates dies. A stagnant pond breeds disease. A flowing river breeds life. Gratitude and generosity keep the magnet strong. Let me speak to you now about environment. A magnet, when placed near rust, will decay. Place it near power, and it strengthens. You cannot aim your mind at wealth while surrounding yourself with voices of poverty, of fear, of laziness. You cannot soar with eagles while feasting with pigeons. Show me your circle, and I will show you your future. Jobs had Wozniak. Edison had Tesla. Carnegie had Schwab. The greatest magnets do not stand alone. They align with others who burn the same fire. And yet, even with allies, even with vision, even with faith, the path is brutal. Wealth is not cheap. Wealth is not casual. It demands blood, sweat, sacrifice. It demands nights when your eyes burn from studying while the world sleeps. It demands mornings where your body aches, but you rise anyway. It demands saying no to comfort, no to distraction, no to mediocrity. This is why most never taste it, not because they can't, but because they won't. History remembers those who would. Henry Ford faced bankruptcy 5 times before revolutionizing the automobile. Disney was told he lacked imagination. Imagine that. Steve Jobs was abandoned by his father, rejected by his own company, ridiculed for chasing beauty in technology, and yet he forged ahead. Why? Because they understood this truth. When you aim your magnet at wealth, you must be prepared for resistance. Resistance is proof. Proof that the dream is real. Proof that you are pulling against gravity. Proof that you are shaping something so heavy, so massive, that it takes force to move. And those who quit at resistance, they were never worthy of the prize. So I ask you now, what will you do when resistance comes? When the world laughs at your idea? When the bank denies your loan? When your friends drift away? When the nights grow long and the failures pile high? Will you surrender your magnet, weaken your aim, return to mediocrity? Or will you clench your teeth, burn your soul, and push forward until reality bends? Because here is the truth. Life bends. Reality bends. Wealth bends. It is not fixed. It is fluid, but it only bends to those who dare to push. The poor man says, "That's just how it is." The wealthy man says, "That's how it was, until I arrived." Do you feel it? That power? That hunger? That fire within your chest that whispers, "I was meant for more." That whisper is not delusion. That whisper is not madness. That whisper is the magnet inside you, begging to be aimed. So aim it. Aim it at vision. Aim it at faith. Aim it at discipline. Aim it at wealth. And do not stop until the world bends. Close your eyes and imagine this. A blacksmith stands before his forge. In his hand is raw iron, cold, heavy, unshaped. To the untrained eye, it looks useless. But he knows what the world cannot see. Within this crude lump hides a blade, a bridge, a masterpiece. He heats it in fire. He hammers it with force. He bends it, breaks it, pounds it again. Each strike brings pain. Each strike brings shape. Wealth is no different. You are the blacksmith. Your mind is the forge. Your faith is the fire. The hammer blows of failure, rejection, and struggle are not punishments. They are the process. Every no you hear is a strike of the hammer, shaping you into steel. Every door slammed in your face is fire refining your magnet. The world tests you not to destroy you, but to prove you. The poor man says, life is unfair. A wealthy man says, strike me again. I will not shatter. I will sharpen. Think of Thomas Edison. Do you know how many experiments he ran before inventing the light bulb? 10? 100? No, over 1,000. The newspapers mocked him. Investors abandoned him. But when asked if he had failed, he said, I have not failed. I have simply found 1,000 ways that do not work. That is the mind of a magnet. He refused to attract defeat. He chose to attract light, and so light came. And because he endured, billions now live in the glow of his vision. But here's the secret nobody tells you. Wealth is never about money first. Money is the shadow. Money is the effect. The cause, the real wealth, is the mindset. If your mind is poor, money will vanish. If your mind is rich, money will multiply. Lottery winners prove this. They gain millions, but within years, it is gone. Why? Because their magnet was never aimed. Their thoughts were still chained by fear, scarcity, and waste. They were iron, pretending to be steel. But you can choose differently. You can plant the seeds of discipline, resilience, faith, and vision so deeply that no storm uproots them. Imagine wealth not as a bank account, but as a tree that feeds generations. If you chase only the fruit, you will starve. If you grow the roots, the fruit will never stop coming. So ask yourself, where is your magnet pointed? At bills? At excuses? At fear? Or is it aimed at empire? At legacy? At freedom? You cannot serve two masters. You cannot aim your magnet at poverty in the morning and at wealth by night. The mind does not work like that. It follows the dominant thought. Feed it fear, and it will hunt fear. Feed it courage, and it will hunt wealth. Think of Walt Disney. He was fired from his first job at a newspaper because they said he had no imagination. He was broke, sleeping in his office, eating beans from a can. Yet he aimed his magnet at a kingdom of dreams, and when bankruptcy struck him, he rebuilt. When critics mocked him, he persisted. Today, millions walk through the gates of Disneyland, still living inside the magnetism of his vision. That is the power of faith, the power of resilience, the power of refusing to lower the aim of your magnet. And listen closely now, because this is where most break. The middle ground, the in-between, the place where you've started the journey, but the wealth has not yet come. The magnet is pulling, but nothing seems to move. This desert of waiting destroys more dreamers than failure ever could. But the wealthy endure the desert. They walk through the heat. They hold the vision when no evidence exists. They keep striking when the iron still looks formless. They whisper to themselves in the dark, "It's coming. It must come. Because my mind is the magnet and I will not release it." And then, like the sunrise, wealth appears. The opportunity, the connection, the breakthrough. People will call it luck. They will call it coincidence. They will not see the years of fire, the hammer blows, the waiting. But you will know the truth. You forged it. You aimed it. You demanded it. Because your mind is not clay to be shaped by circumstance. It is iron to be magnetized by will. The world does not tell you this because the world profits from your weakness. The world sells you distraction, fear, conformity. But you, if you are still listening, you are not the world. You are the exception. You are the fire. You are the magnet. Wealth is not simply the cars, the homes, the luxuries. No, true wealth is invisible before it is visible. It is thought before it is gold. Every skyscraper you see, once an idea on a napkin. Every empire you admire, once a whisper in someone's mind. Every fortune ever built began as a seed of faith, planted in soil that others laughed at. And yet, the magnet of a determined mind pulled resources, people, and circumstances toward it, until the invisible became the undeniable. But here is where the majority fail. They dream, but they do not discipline. They imagine, but they do not endure. They hold the vision in the light, but release it in the dark. And so their magnet grows weak, scattered, misdirected. Like a compass without north, they spin in circles, attracting fragments, never fortune. You must decide. Will your magnet waver with the winds of doubt, or will it burn steady, unwavering, like a star that guides the lost? Now, close your eyes for a moment. Picture it. The life you crave, the wealth you desire, the freedom you hunger for. See it in vivid color. Hear the laughter of your family free from scarcity. Feel the power of waking each morning without chains. Taste the sweetness of victory on your tongue. Hold that vision until it burns. That is the target for your magnet. That is where you aim. And when you open your eyes, move. Move with ferocity. Move with certainty. Do not crawl. Do not tiptoe. Do not apologize. Step into your destiny like a lion into battle. Because the world does not give wealth to beggars. It gives wealth to warriors. This is your moment, your hour, your story. No more excuses, no more delays, no more chains. Because the truth, the eternal truth is this. Your mind is a magnet. Aim it at fear, and you will attract prisons. Aim it at doubt, and you will attract poverty. Aim it at faith, vision, and relentless action, and you will attract wealth beyond measure. And when that wealth comes, do not hoard it. Multiply it. Spread it. Burn your name into time itself. Let the world say, here was a soul who believed. Here was a warrior who built. Here was a magnet so powerful, it bent reality itself. This is not the end. This is the beginning of your empire, the beginning of your freedom, the beginning of your legacy. Now go, aim your mind, pull your wealth, seize your destiny, because you are not ordinary. You are not average. You are not here by chance. You are magnetic. You are unstoppable. You are chosen. And your wealth, your true, eternal, unstoppable wealth, is waiting for you.